We will begin. Mayor Basil will be along shortly. He did have another commitment, but he is planning on being here. As well, just for the information of everybody, the meeting will be live streamed. Okay, thank you. And we'll turn it over to Technical Services, Director McDonald.
It's okay.
My apologies. Over to the chair, Councillor McFeely.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So tonight is the public meeting to deal with a zoning bylaw amendment and a discretionary use request for 291/295 McEwen Road. This is just a kind of a preface, perhaps, before I start. For the public, this is the public's opportunity for input, so would certainly encourage people, if they have comments, that now is the time for council to hear those public comments. So with that, we'll move forward. The background: an application was received from Kujum Musliu for PID number 1060888, and I apologize for the pronunciation of that, and PID number 1060870. The purpose of the amendments is to allow town housing 6 units. The application is to amend the city zoning bylaw as follows. Proposed amendment: change the zoning map from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to medium-density residential R3 zone. And the map is included there that designates the subject properties. The application was advertised in the January 9th edition of the Journal Pioneer, and letters were mailed to property owners within 60 meters or 200 feet of the subject properties. Low-density mixed residential R2 zone, 16.1. The purpose of this zone is to provide for low-density housing in the form of single-family, semi-detached, and duplex dwellings and other compatible uses. Permitted uses, subject to bylaw requirements. R2 zone, permitted uses: single-family dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, duplex dwellings, accessory buildings, and assisted living. Discretionary uses, 16.3, subject to council approval. R2 zone, discretionary uses: child care facility, medium, social service agency, nursing care facility, a tourism establishment, and a boarding house. And the asterisk there also requires conditional use permit. Conditional uses, 16.4, subject to a permit. R2 zone conditional uses include home-based business, secondary suite, a tourism establishment such as a vacation rental property. Medium-density residential R3 zone. The purpose of this zone is to provide for medium-density housing in the form of single-family detached, semi-detached, duplex dwellings, townhouses, row houses, and other compatible uses. Permitted uses, 17.2, subject to bylaw requirements. R3 zone permitted uses: single-family dwelling, semi-detached dwelling, duplex dwelling, accessory building, assisted living, manufactured home, mobile home, lawfully existing prior to 1999. Discretionary uses, 17.3, subject to council approval. R3 zone discretionary uses include child care facility medium, group home, townhouses, 8 units per building maximum, rooming house, boarding house, nursing care facility, community care and nursing home, row house, 8 units per building maximum, social service agency, tourism establishment, tourist home and inn, apartments, 4 units maximum, and the asterisk there would indicate that also requires conditional use approval. Conditional uses, 17.4, subject to development officer approval. R3 zone conditional uses: home-based business, secondary suite, tourism establishment, B&B, and vacation rental property. So at this point, we kind of open the floor up and we would invite the proponent, Kruchtam Musliu, if he has any comments. Mr. Musliu indicated to me prior to the meeting that perhaps he didn't want to speak, but the floor is yours if you wish. Okay. And at this point, we would invite the public to make any comments they may have, and we would ask you to come to the mic and indicate your name and your address, so we would have that for the record.
Thank you, Brian, Deputy Mayor, councillors, staff. Thank you. My name's Fred Martin. I live at 299 McEwen Road, which is the property basically next to the two lots that were described. We have, Giselle and I will probably both talk, but just a couple of questions, a couple of concerns, and maybe, I call him Quentin, it's easier, Brian, so if he wanted to comment on some of these, he certainly could. First of all, one of the things that I would question is, right now it's basically two lots. What's being proposed basically, to me, turns it into one lot with a 6-row townhouse on it. I would hope in that happening that the lot is surveyed again. Right now, I don't know if it's surveyed in 2 lots, but to me, it's becoming one new lot. And I ask that because there's a bit of a question to where the front pin is, my adjacent pin on McEwen Road to his land. I want to make sure where the line is. So that's certainly one of the things I'd like to see happen. There was a bit of a question as to where that line is. That's why I'd like it put to rest once and for all. The second thing I'd comment on, and I've talked to technical services quite a bit this fall about water and where it's going to flow in the next 2 or 3 months. And I'm talking about when the ground's frozen and the snow melts, where's it going to go? Well, Giselle and I have been at 299 for 7 winters, and basically the stream comes behind our place, directly across his land to a main drain right in the center of the 2 lots. And that drainage has been significant over the years. So obviously a plan for that water. Now, the only thing I'll add is that this year, on the extension to the street on Gamble Avenue, 102 and 104 has been built late this fall. And the print of that fill that was put in there is basically right where this water drained, and it was consistent every year. I have no idea where that water is going to go in the next 2 or 3 months, and that's why I've talked with technical services a good bit this fall about it, because, well, we're hoping it certainly doesn't end up in our backyards. That's my big concern. But anyway, the water drain, when the land is frozen, snow melts, that's the lowest part, I think, of McEwen Road, those 2 lots. And that's where it goes. That's where it's gone now ever since we moved in there, 2012. So that's a major concern.
Hello, my name is Giselle Martin, and as Fred said, we live in the lot next to this property in question, and we just took the opportunity. We know Quentin. We've been next door to him, to that lot for all the years we've been there, and we just wanted to take the opportunity to come here tonight to maybe get a little information, maybe ask a few questions in this setting. So one of the questions and one of the concerns that I have is Quentin did come to see us, and he brought a drawing of what he would like to see put up on the lot. It's the 6 units. Now, I guess my question is, can you make a decision or a recommendation based on not a formal plan being drawn, formal architectural plans that will actually show the dimensions or the footprint of the building and where it sits on the lot. So that's the question that I have of Quentin. And the other things that I'm looking at what's allowable in the zone R3. And I guess some of the things that stood out for me that I just want to ask the question, and maybe I need to turn around and ask the question. I want to know, is it a one-story townhouse that he plans? I think it is, yeah. I think it is, but I just want to hear him say that. And I know that Quentin indicated to us that, at least on the initial, that he and his wife, it's Flora? Yeah, he and his wife Flora plan on living in one of the units and being the caretakers of the building. So I'm just going to ask him that as well. Is it- Okay, so I just wanted to hear Quentin say that because it kind of makes a difference to me if they're the caretakers of their building or if it's going to be other people coming and going. And one other thing that I saw in the possible allowances for that would be tourism, short-term rental like Airbnb. I'm just going to turn around and ask Quentin that while I'm here. Yeah. Okay. All right. So those are just things I want to kind of ask, like because we had the opportunity to do it here. So you want to say something? Okay. Okay. So the other, and just one other thing that I wanted to ask, when Quentin showed us this drawing that he has so far, he indicates a building with a footprint of 168 feet long and 40 feet out back and forth to the road. Now, this is, as you can see, it's a primitive drawing. So in order to allow for all of the firewalls and the walls in this structure, I would like assurance that he's going to start with a footprint that's 168 feet by 40, because this could very easily go to 175 or more, and then these lots are quite narrow to the adjoining properties. So that's my question and my concern, and I don't know how these are answered, and I don't know how you answer with a blank lot and almost a blank piece of paper. So that's kind of what, those are my questions of Quentin and of you. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Giselle. So I guess I would ask, one more time if Mr. Muslio had anything to say.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Councillors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Quentin Muslio, and if I could remember all the questions that my neighbors have, is one concern to them is where the water is going to go. When we bought the lots, they are for semi-detaches. Where the water is going to go when we build semi-detaches. If it's their question, they're saying for the last 7 years they live in that property, and they're telling me, I bought them, I paid, they are paid, no loan on them, we are paying property taxes on them. Should we leave them for the rest of my life and their lives till somebody else moves in that property and they're okay for me to build the building? Or to leave to my boys, whenever we go such that they can build a semi-detached. It is saying what I offered to my neighbors in that primitive drawing, they are calling it, because I cannot go put $4,000 or $5,000 out by not knowing where we get. But I can reassure you, and for sure will not be any closer than what I'm allowed to go to the neighbor's property line in both sides. In both sides, in the back side, still in the front side. I will go to the boundaries, what the law is coming from this council meeting, from the city of Summerside, or the province, whoever the institutions brings the laws and tells me what the closest to the neighbor I can get, or the farthest from a neighbor I can go, we'll do that. And I do have, Thane has some pictures of showing, my neighbor said he wanted me to repin it. Absolutely not. It's gonna be right in the middle. I will have the two lots the way they are. But 3 are gonna go in one lot, and 3 are gonna go in one lot. And right in the middle, where you see that, where is one of my properties is gonna be right in the middle, 3. It goes on the left, and 3 are going to the right. That means there is no way for me to repin it that when there's no need. I'm not going any closer to him. I'm not moving. Those 6 units are not being close to him and getting away from the 2-story semi-detached or duplex building is there. No, we are going right in the middle. That's is going to be the 3 one. I spoke to Linda. She is not here tonight, but she knows that right from the beginning, that's what I indicated, that's what it's going to be. And if they have any more questions, I am willing to answer them.
Can I ask which pin, Fred, which pin are we talking about? Not the one in the middle of the 2 lots, right? It'd be that one there?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So, yeah. So the pin is just not there, right?
The back pins are all there.
Yeah.
The back pin where he has his fans, it is right in the middle, half in my, half in his. Doesn't bother me. The back pin to the gentleman what we allowed him to build the parking lot what he uses now. The middle pin is there. The back pin is there. All 3 pins in the back are there.
What, I guess a question to Aaron, if I could.
Yeah.
When this is to be made into 1 lot, if that's the case, wouldn't this not have to be resurveyed?
He's stating he plans to build, what I understood, a
Yes.
3-unit building on each a lot.
Yes, sir.
They'll stay as individual lots,
But-
not having a 2-unit on it, but having a 3-unit is what I understand.
Right, but how can you, if that's not turned into 1 lot, how can you put it on the line?
We own
Don't you
all-
have, I know, but there's bylaws here that you have to be so far from the line, right?
Yes, and that's what he's stating. I guess we'll have to see what the overall dimension is, but either he's going to have to consolidate
Right, that's what I mean.
to 1, which would
Yeah,
require
yeah.
a new survey. But
Right.
if he can fit 3 units on each lot, it would stay as an existing lot and not have to be repinned.
Yeah, but
Even if there
I
was.
guess my point is, if he was building 3 on the 1 lot
Correct.
and 3 on the other, they wouldn't be together in the middle because you have to stay.
Only if he
The-
decides to subdivide the 3 into individual units. He can build one, keep it as 1 lot and have 3 separate, 3 units on the 1 lot.
Right.
In future, if he wishes to subdivide them to have ownership, as he mentioned,
Yeah.
to one of his each family members, he could subdivide a lot into
Yeah.
3 and
Right, but my point is, if you look at that green line going down the middle, right?
yes,
That's the
That-
property line. So I cannot build
there's a certain.
right next to the
Correct.
line.
So he'll have to, that may not be exactly where it is. We're
Yeah.
just showing a rendition of a plan having 3 separate or 3 ones on.
Right, but there'd have to be a space there
Yes.
between them, so,
Yep.
yeah, it can't be 1 building.
He Can't have
unless it's redone, right?
one building for 3 or one building for 6.
One building for 6.
Right, that's what we're understanding. He's not saying I'm gonna build one building for 6. I'm gonna build one building that has 3, and I'm gonna build another building with 3, correct?
But there's a common wall between,
There will not be a common wall to be a larger gap than what's presented on the screen.
Right, that's my point,
so there's
so.
2 3-unit buildings.
That's what we understand, yes.
No,
Yeah, no.
1-6.
Okay,
So
one
it has
6.
to- Right, if it's 1 6-unit building, that lot has to be, that
There'll be a
lot
new
has to
for the entire.
resurveyed, right,
to-
my point,
Before
yeah,
Yep,
yeah. So that,
Linda's not here.
Yep.
The first day I came here,
Yep.
she told me I can't. That's why I
Yep.
did
Yeah.
call
I-
for this meeting.
I'm asking that question because I don't want you misled.
I was then misled.
And listen, I'm not saying that that's, we'll get into the detail as far as
Yeah.
one, I don't deal with it every day, and one 6-unit building gonna go on there, and
Yeah, I think,
the lots are gonna be consolidated, right? I mean, the 2 lots are gonna turn into one. Whether it has to be surveyed or not, you're into a legal surveying issue, right?
but I think that's a question that we would deal with at planning board after staff have the opportunity to review the questions that were raised tonight and provide us with some
Correct.
answers and direction in relation to those questions. So
All
what
the
we'll
questions
do
that were answered. that
Yeah,
were
what
asked.
we will do tonight, just
Yep.
to well, we're gonna review that in a minute, but it will be deferred to planning board for review. Then we will have the opportunity to hear staff's reflection and answers on all those questions that have been raised tonight. And then council will have the opportunity to ask further questions and then make a recommendation to the council, so.
It's not
Yep.
a problem.
Yeah, so that's the process, so. Any other comments, Aaron or Thane, or any other comments from the question? Sure, no?
Would you like to have my chair? You can speak at this mic.
Yeah, I just want to understand, just for my clarification, because this is all new to me.
Yep.
What is the allowance or maximum allowance or minimum, I guess, from a building next door to the property line?
Well, I'll have to verify or dig through the rules to see what they change between an R1, an R2, and an R3. So that we'll have to verify what the R3 number will be.
Oh, okay, so it
So if you have a
varies.
single-family house, you have a certain distance from your boundary. You're in an R2, requires a certain distance, and an R3 may or may not be different. They're not all exactly the same.
Okay, so, what happens after this? It goes to planning, and then
Yeah.
do we hear any of the
Yeah,
answers?
well, the
to
planning
the
board is
questions?
an open meeting. You're certainly welcome to.
The same as this one, it'll
It's
be
a
open to the
public
public,
meeting.
and
You're welcome to attend that. Then planning board will pass a resolution making a recommendation to council. I'll read that into the record here in a minute anyway, so the next process.
For,
Councillor Snow?
for their sake, the planning board meeting is not open for discussion like this one.
No, this is the opportunity for
So-
public input
Right.
tonight.
So you have to ask every question you think of now. You would hear. Yeah, you would hear
Oh,
the
certainly,
answers.
you're certainly welcome to attend the planning board meeting, and certainly, planning board, Brian, that'll be streamed live. If you choose not to attend, you can watch it, or, yeah, we'll go to council, so. Any other comments or questions?
If there's any question, I will try to answer.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, just
Mr.
one
CEO.
comment, just one clarification. At the planning board discussion, when that is held, the only opportunity for public comment would arise if there was a change in this plan,
Yes.
right? And then there would be an opportunity for them to comment, correct?
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So we're good? We're ready to move on? No other comments? We're good?
Thank you.
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity.
Thank you. So number 5 here, the explanation of the process, which we already talked about somewhat. In order to process a zoning bylaw amendment, the following steps are required. Number one, the zoning bylaw amendment is read the first time and declared as read at a first council meeting, and that will happen tonight. Number two, the zoning bylaw amendment is referred to the planning board for review and recommendation. And that will happen tonight. The reference to planning board will happen tonight. Steps 1 and 2 take place at the same meeting of council and will take place this evening. 3, planning board reviews the application and prepares a recommendation to council. 4, the zoning bylaw amendment is read a second time and declared as read at a second council meeting. 5, the zoning bylaw amendment is read to be adopted by council. The resolution will either be carried or defeated by a vote of council. If the zoning bylaw amendment is adopted by council, it is sent to the Minister of Communities, Land and Environment for signature, and the amendment becomes official. So step 3 and 5 would take place at the second council meeting. In order to process a discretionary use, the following steps are required. The discretionary use is heard at a public meeting. That's taking place this evening. 2, staff prepare a report on the discretionary use for the planning board to review. The planning board reviews the application and makes a recommendation to council. That'll happen at the planning board meeting. We have a date for that, Brian? Tuesday, February 4th will be at 5 p.m. will be the planning board meeting. Where am I? Step 2 takes place at the planning board meeting. 3, the discretionary use is read to be adopted by council. The resolution will be either carried or defeated by a vote of council. And that will take place at council's second meeting, which will be the February council meeting, Brian, which is the 17th, 18th of February. So planning board of the 4th and the council meeting on the 18th of February. Please note that in accordance with section 5.20 of the city zoning bylaw, any person who is dissatisfied by a decision of council with respect to the administration of this bylaw may appeal council's decision within 21 days to the Island Regulatory and Appeals Commission, IRAC. And then number 6 in our process tonight is the resolutions, Deputy Mayor. So if you want me to proceed. I have well, I have four resolutions, and so we will move on those. Resolution COS 20-004. It's moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Kerry Adams. Whereas an application was received from Kuchtem Musliu for a zoning amendment for PID number 1060888 for a low-density mixed residential R2 zone to medium-density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. Be it resolved that the zoning amendment 003 be hereby declared as read a first time, and Schedule B is attached, Deputy Mayor, and I'll just read that into the record. Zoning bylaw 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Summerside, under authority vested in it in section 18 and 19 of the Planning Act, RSPEI 1988 Cap P-8, hereby enacts as follows. 1, the zoning for PID number 1060888 shown on Schedule B of the City of Summerside zoning bylaw is designated as medium density residential R3 zone, hereby excluded from its former designation of low density mixed residential R2 zone, and the map is attached for reference. Deputy Mayor.
So I believe, have all members heard the resolution information, and are there any comments or questions? No? You ready for the vote? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Carried.
Motion carried, thanks.
No, it's a full council. This is a special council meeting. This isn't. So everybody votes. Yeah.
Next one?
Next one, your Deputy Mayor, is Resolution COS 20-005, moved by Councillor Brian McFeely, seconded by Councillor Kerry Adams. Whereas an application was received from Kuchtem Musliu, getting better as time goes on here, for a zoning amendment for PID number 1060888 from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to medium-density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read a first time at this council meeting, be resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 003, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby referred back to Planning Board for review and recommendation.
Thank you. Members of council, you've heard the resolution information. Any comments or questions? Are you ready for the vote? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
And resolution number COS 20-006, moved by myself, Councillor Brian McFeely, second by Councillor Justin Durand. Whereas an application was received from Kuchtim Muslio for a zoning amendment for PID number 1060870 for low-density mixed residential R2 zone to a medium-density R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be it resolved that zoning amendment 005 be declared as read a first time. Is that the same resolution as we huh? Oh, the two different properties. Okay, okay, I got you. And Schedule B is attached. The zoning amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Summerside, under authority vested in it by Section 18 and 19 of the Planning Act, RSPEI 1988, Cap P-8, hereby enacts as follows. Number one, the zoning for PID number 1060870, shown in Schedule B of the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, is designated as medium density residential R3 zone, hereby excluding it from its former designation of low density mixed residential R2 zone, and the map is attached showing the subject property. Deputy Mayor.
So members of council, you heard the resolution and the information. Any questions or comments?
I just wondered, Aaron, you're going to just look after, make a recommendation for council meeting on water drainage and whatever else is going to be there?
Yes, at the planning board, we'll bring back what we have for information on the existing drainage and any other questions that were brought up.
Okay, thank you.
Come to the Planning Board on the 4th.
So, are you ready for the vote? Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Just for our minutes, just as we continue on, I just want to acknowledge that Mayor Basil Stewart is here. He had another commitment, but just for the minutes, we want to have that recorded.
Thank you,
Right.
Deputy Mayor. I didn't know the way family member, so I knew things would go well here without me. And as far as I know, they're going well. Thank you.
One last resolution. Very good, Worship. Resolution COS 20-007, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Justin Durand. Whereas an application was received from Kuchtim Muslio for a zoning amendment for PID number 1060870 from low-density mixed residential R2 zone to medium-density residential R3 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read the first time at this council meeting, be resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 005, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby referred back to Planning Board for review and recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor McFeely. So members of council, you've heard the information for the resolution. Any comments or questions? You ready for the vote? All those in favor? Resolution carried.
And that's the end of it, Worship.
And just
So, is there anything else after this? No? Oh, I'm sorry,
no, it's okay. It was just a note. I think that I don't know if the right date was said. It probably was, but the February 4th meeting, just for the public's knowledge, is at 5 p.m. And usually it would be the 17th Islander Day, that's the 18th. Instead, it's the Tuesday. I think we mentioned that, but just, it's on the Tuesday rather than the Monday for February at 6:30.
Councillor Duran. So members in the gallery, thank you for attending, and that next meeting is February the 4th. Thank you.